One of my most staunch and underrated, unpopular opinions when it comes to fantasy books as a fantasy fan is fae in general right now. Fae stories have, of course, always been popular, but I feel like in the past 5 years or so, there's been like a huge resurgence of fae, and particularly like sexy or hot fae. But I'm also really missing the era of like really creepy, messed up, mean, nasty fae. They're meant to be conniving and mischievous and bloodthirsty and cruel for no reason. I have a list of books here that include some of my favorite portrayals of fae that I've read in recent years to kind of give you an idea of what I mean by this at all. I'm gonna start with the soft launch of this all, which would be Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia Fae. Since it is written like it's an encyclopedia, they do try to stay true to like the folkloric study of fae, which means that they're very honest about their very brutal nature. And so you do get like the cute brownies that still are a little bit mischievous, but then you get the high fae that are like actively preying upon the energies of like the children of humans. And so I really appreciate the portrayal of fairies in this, despite how cutesy this book is at times. Underrated book I think people have heard about but haven't read is The Thorns Remain. It really leans in to their evil nature and just the lengths that they go to manipulate humankind. And something that's interesting about the fae in this, or at least the main one that we follow, he will essentially like morph into a more uncanny or less humanoid version of a fae, depending on what mood he's in and if he is trying to manipulate our main character. Like the mask starts slipping and his eyes kind of like his pupils kind of start dilating in an unnatural way and his limbs grow a little bit too long. And I just love stuff like that. I think a hugely underrated part of fae is how uncanny they can be at times. Next, this was my favorite book from last year. It's a very vibes heavy book, but they do fae so well in this. But the way like the physical description of them was the best physical description of fae I think I've seen in so long. They're like insectoid and they're like 10 feet tall and they're very uncanny and they have insect eyes. And that's the sort of fae I like to see. And they kind of haunt the narrative of the story for most of it. So the reveal of it is just, ooh, it hits so well. I love the fae in this. I love the way that they look in particular. Next, The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. This is actually a horror book. So you do get a lot of the scarier sides of fae, which is what I want to see because like historically fae are very scary creatures. And they kind of operate a little bit like US American cryptids in a way that they're described. But is Bigfoot not a fae if you really think about it? And by the time they're revealed, their appearance is so uncanny and strange and they feel so malicious that you are like fully buying into the horror aspect of this. They feel so otherworldly at the end of the day. I really like the fae in this book. Overall, I just really enjoyed this book. It's really fun if you are a horror fan, but if you really like scary fae, this has got scary as hell fae, so I highly recommend it. Anyway, but I'm always looking for more scary fae. If anyone has any other recommendations, I will gladly take them.